Hello guys, welcome back to the channel. Now today it's going to be super exciting because, as some of you may well know, this is my downhill bike. What's going to make today exciting is Onza have sent me these things. The Onza Porcupine RC in 29-inch size. So obviously that's perfect for this downhill bike. This bike hasn't really been used that much this year. It's going to be interesting, but we're going to go to the local because I know we've got loads of different soils and loose rock and everything that Onza are saying this tyre's for. So the current choice at the moment on this bike, which I've used for a few years now, is the Onza Aquila downhill tyre. Super sick. And it's going to be a little different to try a different tyre, but we'll try them out, the Onza Porcupine RCs. Let's fit them. So changing the tyres then, we obviously need the new tyres, a set of tyre levers, some sealant and a decent track pump that will be able to fit tubeless. Round the tyre, unseat it off the bead. Sometimes it does get a bit messy if you've got quite a lot of sealant in there. The old tyre lever. Get her off. Aquilas literally are my go-to tyre, and I wouldn't even think about running anything else unless it was super wet, in which case I use the Onza grainers. Quite a cool thing that Onza have brought these out, so they're designed for the wetter conditions, mud, slop, loose stuff. There's two things you need to make sure with tyres. Firstly and most importantly, the rotation is the right way. A little pro tip is always try and get the tyre manufacturer's name over the valve. Fit the tyre first before putting the sealant in. Slightly easier, and it just means there's less mess to get everywhere as well. Come on. Cool. Seated round the right way. Do the same with the second one. Sometimes you might just have to give it a little gentle persuasion with a tyre lever. Not always recommended, especially if you've got tubes on. Big no-no. Seat her once again. Next step, we're going to put some sealant in. For a downhill tyre, we probably want to use the whole pouch. Smaller tyre, we'll probably only use half a pouch. That is the two tyres on. Let's go and shred. Everyone knows you cannot test on an empty stomach. Right, here we are. We have made it, myself, my downhill bike and the Porcupine RCs. We've come to the local. There's various different tracks here with various different terrain, so ideal to test it. Some of you may recognise this place from bringing my enduro bike here quite a lot. That's purely so I can ride back up the hills again. So let's go check out a number of different trails. Oi. First track we're going to hit is pretty sandy, so we'll really put these to the test. Some of you may well see the full face I'm rocking isn't my normal. That is because all will be revealed in a later video. A little Mr. Meme happened with it, unfortunately. So obviously I don't want to wear a half face of downhill bike, you know, stees and all that. Let's go check it out. Right, first run then. Let's see what these porcupines are all about, especially in sand. Oh my lord, so grippy. Whoa. So the cool thing is here, there's so many different terrains. So obviously this is the first one we're doing, is just sand, and then we get into some dirt later. Yeah, very impressed. Next little track, just because it's sort of on the way, little drop into this jump over, and then we carry on. First track was very sandy. This one's still sand based, but it's just a bit more sort of bedded in to some degree, so you can sort of see off the drop into the jump, and then we'll find ourselves on more mud. Jumpy track. So we test the tyres out on these berms, carry the speed out, off the drop. Yeah, that's sick. I'd love to carry it on, but it's going to be dark in about an hour, so onwards. Next track is fairly pedally. Downhill bike isn't normally the weapon of choice, but the reason why I want to ride this is a couple of little routes and things, and I just want to see how these tyres hold over the routes. Let's go check it out. Oi, oi. Right, so many different trails here, so you can just see how it's fairly flat. An enduro bike would be better up high there, so I went over the routes. So mad being on a downhill bike again, actually, after the enduro bike. Just grips. So you can just see as I'm just bombing over routes, doesn't really seem to make too much difference. Wow, there's definitely grip there. Quality. Next track, the reason why I want to do this one bit of off camber, so we're really going to put the side knobs to the test. So there is a track straight, but we're just going to go across here, because as you can see now, we're getting into the realms of slightly off camber. Really, certainly on a day like today where it is just slightly, whoa, slightly loose. Very impressed, genuinely very impressed. Yo, these tracks are obviously super fun, but from a like testing point of view, I want to try and give them different challenges. So the first trail we rode was obviously sand. Next one, okay, similar sort of terrain but slightly more dirt. Then we went into a couple of little routes, and then that one we've just done there is quite off camber in a lot of places, so it really means that you're having to test the side knobs on them. Next track, let's see what we can find. Well, it's a lot harder to wheelie this over my enduro bike. I'm right off the back. Loose leaves. Done loose leaves, loose sand, roots. Next thing, as you can see, I wouldn't really say that's that tacky. It's just a few days before it gets tacky, so it's still very slippy. So one thing I have noticed, they're actually clearing super well. If you compared that to most tyres on a day like today, you'd find they do clog up a bit. So, you know, fair play. Onto Porcupine RCs. Let's test out the slops. I guess this would be if you're starting a downhill race from somewhere like here. You just want to get up to speed nice and quick. Off the step down. So down here it is actually fairly slick, especially around this right hand up. Whoa, you can definitely feel it. It still grips pretty good. There we go. So if we have a look at this, look how slick all of this is. And those tyres then really held up. You can literally see my line. Because if you followed me over the years, you'll remember this thing. Take off, landing. This is the gap jump. Why are you coming here to test some tyres, I hear you ask? Well, obviously this is all about carrying speed and how fast rolling they are. As you can imagine, when you're landing off here, you're needing super speed to get up and over to clear it. So let's get to the top, drop in. This is the step down. As you can see, before we get to the like gully jump or road jump, whatever it's called. The gully jump. Let's have it then. Trying out the old rolling speed on them. Seems all right to me. Oh yeah, boy. And even that looseness there, that's so sick. Might just do that again because it's super fun. It's obviously not an out and out fair test because, you know, I've gone from my enduro bike to a downhill bike that I haven't ridden in a while. But on first glance, genuinely, I do feel the difference of how these are gripping. Super cool. Onwards and downwards, once again, the gully jump line. And there we go, gradually getting darker and darker every one, that's for sure. Right, so it's quite hard to get on the gas to start off with. Right, and then when we get up to speed, wow! Oh my lord, this is so sick! Oh my, the grip is insane. That is so cool. Sets the tone for the rest of the track, unfortunately. There will be quite a few puddles in this one. Slightly slower than the other tracks because it's a bit more nibbly, a bit more tight. One thing you will see, there's plenty of roots, plenty of compressions and a lot of mud. Let's see what these do. So a little warm up before we get going. Will be fairly dark today, just a bit of ducking, bit of diving. Right, here we go then, techie bit. Oh, it will be loose. Oh, it's holding up well. Oh my god, I'll tell you what, genuinely, I'd normally be a bit all over the place down here because it is fairly loose in places. Definitely here where it's slightly rooty. Wow. That is sick. Come bombing down from up there, and I can even see in the back of the GoPro screen, it doesn't look that steep, but believe me, it's a lot steeper than it looks. Coming into this bit, and this is where we've got the little G out. See where the tyre's doing its magic and holding. Very, very impressed. Look how much grip it's getting, look. Just clinging on to an off camber like that before dropping into the bomber. Next track, we have to duck quite a lot in places. So I think you'll find this track is fairly loose. Certainly not hard pack. Whoa, there she is, chilling away. So then guys, as we've stated today, I appreciate they're not the biggest trails, but we've come here to try and test the tyres as much as we can. Now, the Porcupine RCs are designed for loose trails, wet trails, not hard pack trails. So we've tried our hardest to come and challenge those tyres on wet trails earlier, some off camber, and what we've come to now, there's no denying that this is not hard pack, this is loose rock. So let's go up to the top, gear up and give it a little send. Right then, before it gets too dark, let's try out the loose rock trail. Oh, definitely not hard pack, that's for sure. That's the steeper part done. Now we go to loose sand. Get on the pedals, bottom section, this is where we've got to duck quite a bit in places. Duck it. Whoa! Just needs a little trim. How sick is that? That was the Onza Porcupine RC to the test. And I think I'm converted for the winter. They're super, super sick. Nice and easy. Well, hopefully you guys enjoyed that video. A little different. Obviously testing out the Onza Porcupine RCs. If you've enjoyed this video, it'd be great if you give it a thumbs up. Be sick if you subscribe. And until next time, see you in a bit. Oi, oi.